Welcome back to On the Wing. It's the 31st of March and we've identified 220 South African bird species. To put it into perspective, that's roughly 1/4 of what's possible in the Rainbow Nation. There's no turning back now, we're in the thick of it. My life now revolves around birds. Of course, social media algorithms have caught onto this and there is no escaping it. Something that keeps showing up is a place called Zaagkuilsdrift. It's considered one of the country's top birding destinations and is a regular rarity hotspot. Wetlands, grasslands and woodland create the diverse environments responsible for that. The big year has begun to hit a few speed bumps, which has me thinking that maybe it's time for me to slow down. And from what I can gather, these floodplains are the perfect spots to do that. Welcome to Zaagkuilsdrift. Good afternoon from Zaagkuilsdrift Bird Sanctuary, which is just 2 hours north from where I live in Johannesburg. I've just set up camp in a lovely rustic off-grid campsite, which is going to be based for the next 3 nights. I think what we're going to do is explore and let the place and the bird life that's here just slowly reveal itself to us. We'll see what we find out. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot. And speaking of, this afternoon we're going to spend some time in 3 of the bird hides. That's why I'm starting to whisper. We'll start here at Delta Hide. This is one of 3 hides here, all within walking distance from the lodge and camp. Delta Hide is where the bushveld meets the delta. It's a great spot for sunsets and particularly special during the flood season when the Pinos River to the north flows beneath it. I'm particularly interested in the chance of seeing the marsh owl. Yeah, I can see there's plenty of potential here, but I think what we'll do is visit the other 2 hides and come back here maybe later on. Apparently it's very nice around about sunset, and there's potential for things like marsh owls and things like that to come out. But yeah, let's take a walk around, see what the other 2 hides are like. Walking around here, it became clear that this is not just a bird sanctuary. It's a haven for nature. Next up on our afternoon scouts is Sanctuary Hide. It offers panoramic views of a man-made wetland. This predator-free enclosure holds an array of pinioned species, meaning that they are not wild. The goal here is for the endemic species to breed with the offspring returning to breed themselves as wild birds. There are already some wild species that enjoy the safety here too, but don't worry, I will not be listing these. But it is interesting to see some of them close up and seems like a peaceful place to be in. Finally, right next to my campsite is the photography hide, which offers water level viewing of a variety of species. It's still a bit warm and bright for that though, so a slow stroll back to Delta Hide seemed like a good idea. Sitting near puddles of water would be a growing theme throughout the trip. There's no way I'm leaving here until it's like properly dark. Tomorrow is the 1st of April, and I have not seen a single owl yet on this big year. I felt determined to break that owl deadlock, so I patiently waited. Lucky for me, sunset was a little earlier than expected. However,
0% chance of rain, and it is closing down right now.
the plan for the morning was to leave the property via Craik Road and slowly head west towards Platte River. Then further on towards the Goma Goma floodplains. This is the main suggested birding route here. Craik Road lived up to its name with an African crake ambling around on the road, presenting the opportunity for some unique shots. As seen here on the Firefinch app, this is probably the best area in South Africa to see these crakes. I've just read that they tend to walk along quiet, overgrown tracks, especially in the early morning or after a storm. It's safe to say that that is correct. The dead trees to the west are home to a pair of long-crested eagles, scanning the grass below for rodents. Woodland kingfishers are about to head further north in Africa. In fact, I'm sure many of them have already left. This might be the last time we see them until November, when they return to breed. We're approaching a little bridge on Craik Road, and the owners at Zaagkuilsdrift were telling me that people have been getting lucky with finfoot there, African finfoot, which is a very special bird, very rare to find, very secretive and shy, water-associated bird. Every time I come past this bridge, I'm going to stop and wait a bit and see if I can hear or see anything. Onto Zaagkuilsdrift Road, which takes you through a mixture of a more typical bushveld. A little bee eater has just caught itself a dragonfly. I suppose being by far the smallest bee eater around gives it incredible aerial agility. The Platte River crossing is a hotspot for a number of water-related species. Glossy ibises only started breeding in and around Gauteng in the 1950s. Now, they're a fairly common sight. Not quite as common as the hardy-dar who just had to make it into the shot. I have never seen so many white-faced whistling ducks together like this before. They're all just kind of huddled up in the grass here. I guess the water as well. And I'm thinking if something spooks them and they all fly up at once, then there's a pretty cool shot on the cards here. I'm not going to spook them myself, but maybe something else will, like another bird or themselves. So I'm going to sit here and wait. Oh, there's like 100 cows walking towards me now. They could spook them. Birding can get you into some amusing situations. On towards the Gomo Gomo floodplain. A plethora of species waded in the distance, way too far for me to really identify anything. However, I took a few shots just in case, and without really knowing it at the time, I hit the jackpot. I'll need your help confirming some of these. Attempting to film a big year series with a 70 to 200mm lens has been a challenge to say the least. It was already quite warm and bright at this point, so back towards Zaagkuilsdrift we go. I became a little obsessed with these long-crested eagles. There are frequent sights on road trips sitting on telephone poles in KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga, but I've never really spent quality time with one. The last couple of months have been difficult. It mainly comes down to a terrible patch of insomnia. I don't know if you can tell, but I have really been struggling to sleep. Yeah, look at that. Just feel like I can't make decisions, can't think straight. Creativity has just gone out the window. One of the reasons I'm doing this big year is to slow down and find a level of peace. Unfortunately, my default state of mind seems to be one of self-inflicted pressure to perform well, which ironically has the opposite effect. What I've been doing is what I believe a proper birder would do. Like, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes and go, oh, I would go to this height, I would go to that height, go out onto the road, onto the famous routes that everyone talks about, and it's in the books and everything. It was great, don't get me wrong, but there was a part of this morning that really had me excited, and that was Craik Road. Now, Craik Road runs north to south, south to north through the floodplain here up towards Pienaar's Rivier. When I arrived, when I went out again this morning, and when I came back again this afternoon, it wasn't just the sightings, there was a really good feeling on that road. So I'm going to do that this afternoon. What I'm going to do is braai. It's going to be lunch and dinner, and I'm going to take leftovers out with me and stay out after sunset and hopefully get some owls, nightjars, be there for when things really change. Listen to the place turn from day to night. You can probably tell my mood's changed already. Do it excites you. The braai has not quite gone to plan. The meat from last night has somehow gone off, and I didn't bring tin foil for the sweet potatoes. There's always something forgotten at home when camping. But one thing I am remembering here is how much I enjoy taking photographs. So it looks like long-crested eagle's partner is here too. They love these dead trees just along the western side of this road here. And when they turn their head and that crest comes up, it's just such a nice silhouette. I think I might have just taken one of my favorite photographs in a long time, and I know already it's going to be black and white. I'm hoping that as the sun goes down, I mean, it's still very harsh at the moment, hoping as it goes down, there's still these dead trees here to the west, and there's some nice orange silhouettes waiting for us. I cannot tell you how much of a difference it makes to do what excites you rather than what you believe you should do. It effectively removes the power given to outcomes and gently places it into the current experience. Well, here we are. Sunset behind you, moonrise behind me. I'm so glad we did this. I am so glad. The photography on this road, or at least the opportunities, are next level. There's a moment where all the egrets and larger birds start flying, kind of moving generally west over the floodplain, and you just don't know where to point the camera. Like, you want to get them with the moon in the background, but then the sunset's great. And I don't know, I think I've used like most of the memory card in the space of like 10 minutes. And that's a great thing. I haven't had that happen in a while. Yeah, very grateful. Very grateful to be here. So I guess what we'll do is just relax here on the road in the middle of a floodplain somewhere in Africa and let day become night. As the earth tilted towards the moon, frogs, crickets, and millions of mosquitoes came to life. And so did a gentle feeling of peace. Although I didn't find any owls or nightjars, I returned to camp to find a slightly more restful night of sleep. is 5 to 6. Yesterday morning sunrise kind of caught me off guard, so I want to get out there before that happens. Maybe possibly head towards those floodplains to the west a little bit earlier than yesterday, and focus a little bit more on the little birds. There's been a lot of little birds that I've been seeing, and I don't think I've been quite making the right efforts to really identify them, even if I can't film them. How's that for a nice sunrise? It's quite interesting, like a lot of the birds are now flying east in flocks over the floodplain. I wonder why. Does anyone have any explanation for why they go west in the evening and east at dawn? I'm thinking I'm just going to enjoy a little bit of my coffee here with the sunrise and slow down for a second. Cheers. Oh my goodness. I think that's a snipe. Woo. Approaching Platte River, the little birds were out in abundance, allowing me to tick off a few I had overlooked the day before. This shy chestnut-vented warbler eventually came out for a photo, and something even smaller caught my attention. The area is well known for its rare warbler sightings, a family of birds infamously difficult to spot and identify. Although the willow warbler is common, identifying it is something I would have never attempted a few months back. The long eyebrows and yellow shoulders were the giveaways here. Some heavy-duty vehicles got stuck while trying to repair the Platte River crossing, which means the Gomo Gomo floodplain was now unreachable. Unbothered by this, I slowly went back on my own tracks. Besides, it allowed for another special moment on Craik Road. I think my favorite moment of the trip so far has just happened. I'm back on Craik Road, of course, and I decided to just kind of sit here at one of these large puddles in the road and try capture these, I think they're barn swallows, just catching a drink of water. It's like very quick, it requires a fast shutter speed and the right settings. And I set up nicely with my monopod, and I hear this little rustle in the bushes next to me, and out comes the greater painted snipe right in front of me. My camera's already set up for like birds in flight, so I just instantly somehow get focus on it and start firing away, and got some of my favorite shots of the trip. As it had just started settling down, the blacksmith lapwing came in and chased it to the edge of the road. They just really don't like many birds being around here. I'm not too sure what kind of threat a snipe would be to a blacksmith lapwing, but maybe it's just a competition for food and water. Then unfortunately a truck had to come past, and that's probably scared it back into the long grass. But I think it's worth waiting here for a bit longer. The sun's kind of behind me. Let's hang around and see if this snipe comes back out. What an interesting and cool looking little bird. This rediscovered outlook on my avian adventures had me stopping to appreciate and even photograph smaller moments, which seemed to naturally lead to the bigger ones. A short break at camp, and I couldn't wait to get back out there. The African crake kept making brief appearances, but there was still no sign of the African finfoot. So back to the large puddles. With another stunning sunset in the bag, the extra attention to detail led to one more surprise close to camp. Zaagkuilsdrift, the floodplains and surrounds is definitely a sanctuary for both bird life and bird enthusiasts. I've had such a great time. This is our final morning. The sun is about to rise, and yeah, you guessed it. I'm in my favorite spots. The spot that's brought me the most joy over the last couple of days. This long puddle on Crake Road that runs right through the floodplain. I think what I'm going to do is leave you with what I get here this morning. And before I do that, I want to thank Zaagkuilsdrift Bird Sanctuary and Lodge for having me, and to Farah and Stegen for all their tips and helpful information and advice when I did arrive. It really did go a long way to making my experience that much better. It's been an absolute joy to explore this place. Learned a bit about the birds, learned a bit about myself. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next time.